Conservatives who attack those Americans who are, quote, dependent on the government are far off the mark. Today, despite tremendous need and massive unemployment, less than 1% of the population is getting cash assistance from the government. From 2007 until now, only an additional 500,000 women and children have received cash assistance. Still, conservatives blame President Obama for making it easier for people to be on welfare. Conservatives have the story wrong. With the exception of funds doled out to states to shore up budget deficits and to support middle-class families who suddenly found themselves in need during the most recent recession, there have been no significant policy changes or spending on welfare. In fact, since President Obama took office, spending on welfare has been about the same as when President George W. Bush was in office. So what's this all about? It is about trying to drive a wedge between middle-class Americans who are working full-time and everyone else. Conservatives are sowing the seeds of resentment. They want half of the country to look down upon those who, in their minds, just can't pull it together to become successful. And they want us to believe that if we all just worked hard enough, we wouldn't need a safety net. But that is simply not the case. That claim is built on a false storyline. It is based on the notion that people choose those safety nets over finding work and getting a job, that people remain out of work today not because of the continuing shock waves from the greatest financial meltdown since the Great Depression, but because they choose not to work. And that somehow, by making people teetering on the economic precipice even poorer and more desperate, we will give them the willpower and motivation to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Conservatives believe that we are doing poor people a great favor by cutting the few supports that they have as they try to climb out of poverty. This false narrative also ignores several mathematical budget realities. It ignores the fact that the vast bulk of safety net spending goes to the elderly, the disabled, and children, groups that we don't expect to work. In fact, a full 85% of Medicaid spending goes to the elderly, the disabled, and kids. House conservatives would turn food stamps into a block grant at a level 1/3 below current spending projections. There is simply no way to achieve that level of savings without reducing benefits, cutting people off completely, or some combination of those things. The Great Recession has taken a grave toll across the lower and the middle classes. With high unemployment and job scarcity, all kinds of families have had to tap into government-sponsored programs to make ends meet. Today, for example, close to 48 million, or 1 in 7 people, receive food stamps at a marked increase from 2007, when only 26.3 million tapped into the program. And these are not just the old poor, but also the new poor, who are now accessing programs and services because of long spells of unemployment. Food stamps continue to serve one of the most critical roles in society, providing food security for families who have fallen on hard times. Companies haven't been hiring, so the only way these Americans can feed their families is with food stamps. Conservatives can call that dependency if they want to, but that's what government is for, to promote the general welfare, as the preamble to our Constitution states, especially when the private sector is not getting the job done. The budget drafted by House conservatives shows their misplaced priorities. They prefer to shower big new tax breaks on the wealthiest while hurting the middle class and shredding the social safety net. We have to be honest about our economic reality. Now is not the time to do away with programs that are keeping millions of families afloat.